In this video, I'm going to show you 3 options you can use to average numerical data inside of your make.com scenarios. I'm going to show you the average math function with static numbers and to use the function with numerical arrays. I will also show you how to use the numeric aggregator to average a data set. If we haven't met yet, my name is Andy O'Neill, and if you're looking to level up your make automation skills, then I want to invite you to the Co-Build Collective. It's an automation coaching community where entrepreneurs and freelancers master make.com. All right, so we're over here in Make right now, and I've got a scenario, and I'm going to run this. I have just a basic trigger here, and it has 3 numbers in it, 30, 40, 50, which if those are averaged would give you 40. And I'm running this up here, and you can see this is the compose a string, and I'm averaging these, so you get an average. This is the average function, and when I hover over it, you can see where it pops up there. So you have the average function, and you can put as many numbers in here as you want, as long as they're separated by this semicolon. So I have the 3 numbers mapped in here. I'm going to hit OK, and when I click here, I get not the right answer. This is not what I'm looking for. It says 10, 13, 50, and I've got 30, 40, 50. I don't even know what this is. That's because I'm trying to add text. So if we go over to this one here, what I've done here is I put a parse number around each of these numbers. Numbers can be numbers. They can also be text. And if you try to add numbers that are in the text format, you will not get the right result. So you can see I've got a parse number here around this one. Here's my average function. So I have nested functions here. There's my average. Here's my parse number around number 1. Here's my parse number around number 2 and around number 3. Just to note, this average function, when you use it this way, it's really going to work if you have a static number of numbers to put in there. If you always have 3 or always have 6 to put in there an average. This is not going to take dynamic data. I'm going to show 2 examples below where we can average dynamic data. You can notice here each number is parsed and then it's inside of that average. And when we go up here, you can see our answer is 40, which is correct. So if you are trying to average or even add in the math module, for example, if you're trying to use numbers and the results are not coming out right, what you'll need to do is surround those numbers with the parse number function. So down here in my middle example, I've got some Google Sheet data that I'm pulling from right over here. This is 17 random numbers. That's actually the name of my Google Sheet as well. I have 17 random numbers that I'm pulling into the Google module here. And then I'm putting them into an array. So here's an array with 17 items. And next I'm going to wrap that with the average function. And so if I go back to Google Sheets and I highlight these numbers and go down here and do this, my average should be 3,714.82. So if we go up here and look at this, what it ran is we get 4.555. This is obviously not right. So what I learned in preparing for this video is you cannot add, just like you can't above in that first example, you can't add numbers if they're text. And that's what I believe is going on here. So right here, I got my Google data. I ran this through a parse number function. So I'm just running it through a set variable module, and then I'm creating my array from that number module. And so what's going to happen here is now I'm creating an array of numbers, not text. Even though I have my data set as numbers in my Google Sheet, it didn't come through into Make as numbers. So it came in as text. So I simply put this module here, ran every one of them through, made them numbers, and then created my array. And if we look at our result here, first of all, I have put the average function around this, and I've also had to put a map function. So I'm mapping the formatted numbers values from the array. So it's called formatted numbers. If I hover over that, my raw identifier is formatted numbers. That is how the map function works. So I have the map function with my array, and I've identified the formatted numbers, and then I put the average around this. And if I go right here, I get 3714. This works if you make sure your values are numbers and if you map only the numbers into that array. Now, quite honestly, I've never used this option because it's more steps than using the numeric aggregator, which I'm going to show you next. All right, so I've run my scenario. Right here is my 17 rows of data, and I've put them through the numeric aggregator, and you can see here's the result. The result is correct. What the numeric aggregator does is it says we're going to send all this information into the numeric aggregator, and it's like any other aggregator. We're going to send 17 rows into it, and it's going to end up coming out with one bundle. So it's going to turn 17 bundles, or however many bundles you have, into one bundle. So we define the source module, which is our Google Sheets. We set it at the average. Just to note, you can do sum, count, min, and max values. And then we put the number in here. And so when we run that, we get 371482, which is the correct answer. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I want to show you some number formatting tips while we're doing this. So if we click open here, we have format number, and this is a function. So when I hover over that function, you can see up here at the top, we have format number. We put the number first, we put the number of decimal points, the decimal separator, and the thousands separator. So what I've done is here's my number, here's the number of decimal points, 2. I want to use a period for separating decimal points. And then right here is the thousands separator. And so I don't want a comma in my number, so I put an empty string in there. So what that gives me is a number with 4 digits, and then we have the 2 decimal places, and we do not have a comma after the 3. Just to note, something I found out recently, if you add that comma, it is no longer recognized to make as a number. It is now recognized as text. So if you need to use this number later in your scenario, don't put the comma in there. Now down here, I actually put the comma in here, and it was formatted just like this, 3,714.82. And that's what this looks like here. If you want to learn more about manipulating numerical data in Make, check out this playlist, and I've covered a lot of different ways to do math and working with numbers. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.